podcast, everybody. Your source for real-world leadership insights. I'm your host, Kevin Terry, Louisiana Postmaster and founder of the Leadership Education Development Group. Our 8,000-plus members champion servant leadership and supporting mentoring efforts at all levels. You're also backed by over 35,000 United Postmasters and Managers of America, also known as the UPMA, who are devoted to your growth and advancement. I encourage all of you to go to the website, unitedpma.org. That's like Postmasters Managers America, unitedpma.org, especially if you're looking for help with your KSAs. Under the main menu, look for career development and select KSA assistance. And if we haven't posted that in the chat, we'll get it posted throughout this program. So be looking for it. It really is a phenomenal program. Can't say enough about it. You know, each month we feature distinguished postal leaders from across the nation sharing practical ideas and proven strategies that extend beyond theory and address the realities of leadership in the field. Our goal is to bridge the gap between academic concepts and real-world applications. If there's topics you would like us to explore in the future, or if you have any questions about today's session, please submit those in the chat box. You know, at times our discussions may be candid, but our intention is to foster trust and continuous improvement. I want to clarify that none of the podcast participants represent the United States Postal Service in any official capacity on this podcast. The views and opinions expressed are solely those of the individual speakers and do not reflect official postal policy or strategies. Our mission is to support emerging leaders in developing their skills and perhaps inspire senior leaders to consider alternative perspectives. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special treat for you guys this evening. I'm truly excited. Today's episode features a panel from Illinois 1, all MPOO B, from what I understand. This idea came out of MPOO B, and we'll discuss how they successfully built a local mentoring group. As many of you know, I'm very passionate about mentoring by helping craft employees and new supervisors set up off-the-clock training and networking meetings to fast-track that professional development. Our panel today, however, has found a remarkable way to do the same thing, but on the clock. Okay, I guess you could say they created the first local supervisor college tailored to their specific needs. Okay, so let me go ahead and introduce our panel. First, we have 4 Postmasters, Nair Cross, Tawana Williams, Michael Roche, and Kenya Thomas. Okay, we also have Keena Baker, who's a project manager. And finally, we have Greg Harris, manager of post office operations for MPOO B, Illinois 1. Greg Davis is actually my banker, okay, but Greg Harris, let's be clear, Greg Harris. All right, Greg, I got to say what you have done is absolutely remarkable, and I'm excited to help you guys spread the message about what you're doing. But before we turn it over to Greg and his amazing team, we have a short video that will explain this fantastic program a little bit better. Earl, you got that ready?
Sir.
Awesome. Here we go.
I'm Greg Harris. I'm a manager of post office operations, Illinois 1 District. Welcome to the POOMB Supervisor Training Academy. The POOMB Supervisor Training Academy is a first-of-its-kind entity, totally dedicated to the development and advancement of the supervisor customer service. Now, you may be asking as to why would we engage in such an effort that has never been done in 250 years of our great organization. Well, to put it to you simply, our company will rise or fall based on that conversation between the frontline supervisor and the craft employee. Now, it's my hope that this endeavor will be replicated across the entire USPS. At our academy, we will educate, engage, energize, and empower our future leaders of this esteemed organization, giving them the tools they need to succeed. So please join us as we move forward in the spirit of our academy's motto, to become the leader you would follow. Thank you.
Man, I love that. Educate, engage, energize, and empower. Okay, Greg. So, how did this idea come about? Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Earl, for inviting us on today. This is an honor to be able to share our endeavor. The idea did come about. I used to have quarterly meetings with my supervisors as well as my postmasters, but I had separate meetings with my supervisors. And at the end of those meetings, I would ask them, what do you need? What can your POOM do for you? Is what I would say. What can your POOM do for you? And I would always tell the folks who work for me, I work for you. You know, you want to learn how to be a better leader, learn how to be a better servant, and understand that you also serve as well as lead the people you govern, right? So they would bring their different needs and questions to me, and they would always ask about training. So I would ask, what do you need to be trained in? And a separate conversation I would have with postmasters and managers who would complain that their supervisors didn't know this and didn't know that. Training has always been my passion. You know, I'm a master facilitator with the USPS. So I wanted to put my talents into, put my money where my mouth is, right? So that's what I really wanted to do. So it came up with the idea of putting together an academy. And just so everybody understands, this is a full academy. We have USPS certified and trained facilitators. No one teaches a class unless they're trained by USPS standards, right? You know, we have classes that rotate every month. You know, when you want to talk about enthusiasm and support, the district manager also teaches a class. He was so excited, he wanted to teach a class. He teaches a monthly class on learning how to, the DMS, DMS systems, right? So it's a complete academy. We even have a mascot, right? Joe the Eagle. More on that later, but that's how it came about. You know, that's what we did, and it's really been successful. We've been hearing things from the NCED. We heard from headquarters. We hear from everyone. Everyone that finds out exactly what we're doing, we've had nothing but positive feedback.
Man, yeah, you mentioned replicating this across the nation, and that's something that I would love to hear. You know, but when we invest in our employees, they give us our best. You know, we can't just look at it as, it's going to cost time, it's going to cost money. It's not a cost thing, it's an investment thing. You know, and I'm going to move on to my next question, though, because, you just got me so excited. My next question is going to be, it's for Mike and Greg. Do you both think mentoring is underestimated? And if so, why? Mike, you want to lead us off on that one?
Sure. Yeah, mentoring is definitely overlooked. Honestly, I know it's overlooked more because it's little to no financial gain. You know, I heard this acronym today, WIIFM. What's in it for me? What's in it for you is a little bit easier of a job if you mentor your employees to do those things, take a little bit load off of you. Pure mentoring is a two-way street. You know, we both got to listen that way. But mentoring drives retention, engagement, especially with the newer, younger crowd of generations we have. It helps them navigate their career challenges, increase their knowledge, by adding confidence, leadership, and increasing their success and satisfaction in their job. I actually found some numbers today that I found astonishing. And this isn't just Postal Service, but 76% of people believe mentoring is important. But how many actually have one? 37%. And that's not even in the Postal Service. I would hate to say it, but we may be even lower. You know, we got to get out there and mentor our employees to get it up there higher. 97% of individuals with a mentor say it's outstandingly invaluable. So, you know, we got to be out there to help our employees and get that knowledge out there because, you know, my boss is, you know, got some years in, so he's not going to be around forever. So he's got to mentor me so I can pass that along to the next one, you know, and everything. So.
Yeah, Mike, that amazing points. Greg, you got anything you wanna add to that?
Hey, listen, what Mike is saying is absolutely correct. And, you know, it's really fun. One of the things I've gotten to do is pop in on everybody's class, right? And, you know, looking at the enthusiasm that they have when it's Mike's class, the different things he's teaching, it's rewarding because you see it. I mean, I ran across a person or one of the students, right, who attended the classes. They've attended just about almost every class we've offered. They showed me a book that they have of every note that they've taken in the class. It's an entire book. And one of the things that I have for POOM B is that we're eagles. We're not pigeons, right? Eagles soar majestically above the mountains and the valleys, right? Pigeons live under viaducts and they eat drop French fries, right? We're eagles. Everyone in POOM B is an eagle. We're not pigeons. We're eagles, right? And so I don't allow anybody to talk pigeon talk. You talk as eagles. We come up with solutions. We come up with solutions. Well, it's the truth. That's absolutely it. We come up with solutions. We move forward. This is a POOM group that at one time was 155, you know, out of about 170 POOM groups, right? The big POOM group, level 25, right? You know, last week we were what, 26, right? You know, this shows you, this is the evidence that you know, when people are looking for, well, what's, like Mike said, what's in it for me? You know, when you talk about senior leadership, this is what's in it for you. You know, giving world-class service to our customers, right? Empowering our employees, right? Improving our brand as a company. That's what's in it for us. And that's how you do it. Your most valuable resource you have are people. You can't get results without people, right?
You know, and the level of engagement that you guys are displaying, you know, I mean, it's proven study after study, morale rises, you know, employees contribute more. You know, the engagement leads to fewer accidents, lower OWCP claims, greater productivity, stronger teamwork, better attendance. I mean, you name it. You know, so man, I love it. I love it so much. Let's move on to question number 3 I have for you guys. You know, each of you have the latitude to teach what you want, or are you guys assigned the training? You know, for example, Kenya, I believe you teach safety. Why do you teach safety? Is that something that's important to you?
So yes, I teach safety because it's the #1 priority for United States Postal Service. It's important to me personally as well because it helps protect our workforce, reduce our injuries, and supports the overall efficiency of our operations. My goal with my course that I teach is to ensure that every employee has the knowledge and the awareness to complete their duty safely and confidently, which will ultimately strengthen our service to the public.
Absolutely, and you know, and it says that we care. You know, no better way to display the care than the safety of your employees. So absolutely. You know, Mike, I understand you teach a class called the Perfect Pivot Board and DOIS Performance. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. I kind of just elaborated on the new national huddle board process we have, where you know you put that huddle board out And I know with our declining volumes in certain areas, you're going to get a little bit more than others. So what I use is my workload status as my tool to show my carriers how they're under and how they need to take a little bit extra to complete that 8-hour day. Because as the contract says, we give 8 hours of pay for 8 hours of work, so we really want to make sure we do that. I also use that board to highlight, the good and the bad. SPM and last mile packages are huge indicators on our scorecard. So those are big ones that I drive the most because we used to pay that company to do the SPM samplings, and now we're doing it on our own. So we need that revenue. Last mile packages, that's where our business is going, and that's what the customers strive for. By putting those routes up there without names or anything like that, everybody knows who's on what route. So it also drives a little competition within my office, a little policing of the own. Oh, why'd you do so bad, Frank? You could do better than that. And the next thing you know, Frank's doing better because he's trying to beat Steve, So not that I'm trying to drive him to be unsafe or anything, but a little friendly competition goes a long way sometimes. And that's just the point of it, just to show them what we're looking at, give them more information. This is the why this is happening. And it really seems to work a lot with the younger generation. I have ones come up to me now that I don't even have to ask them for undertime. They just say, I got 30 minutes. What are you going to give me? I didn't even mention undertime. And they said, I got an hour today. And DOAS, we all know DOAS can have a lot of fat sometimes. You may believe that, you may not, but I have several carriers that it'll say they're going to be on time or 15 minutes late, and they can take an hour of a pivot and still make it back on time. So just using those tools to kind of right my ship, get the most effective variance out of my street. And we're at least 5 to 10 hours under on our street every single day because of this.
That communication is so important. That's what's good about pivot boards. It's not only the leadership communicating with the employees, but the employees can communicate back, and it allows that clear communication. Okay, I want to move on to Tawana. I hear you teach a class about managing office and street efficiency. Can you talk a little bit more about that and the responses that you're getting?
Yes. With the current state of the post office, with the decline of mail volume, there's pressure to manage the office and street more efficiently. And so the class that I facilitate, the 1838Cs and 3999s, that's just what this class is. 1838Cs and 3999s, you use those to monitor street and office performance of the employee, and also hold the employee accountable. The attendees are taught what to look for. They're taught the fundamentals of identifying and addressing performance issues and defining expectations. So far, the attendees have been very appreciative of it because for some, this was their first time doing an 1838C because we do have a role play, a skit where they actually fill the 1838C out. So they are very appreciative of it. And for others, it's a refresher course. It was just sharpening their skills.
That's a great idea on the role play. 1838C is the first time you do one is a little overwhelming, but after you've done so many of them, it becomes second nature. And it does hold people accountable. And some people look at accountability, as a terrifying word, and really it keeps people honest. So the good employees don't have to take up the slack. Man, just great class. I love that one. Next question. Tina, I understand the instruction you teach is called controlling the clock, supervisor time management. Can you explain that, please?
Thanks. So I teach a class after listening to the frontline supervisors identify some challenges in lack of time management and keeping up with compliance. I designed a class that would help them manage their time a little better. We start out with evaluating their time and reflections on their day. We create we prioritize the day And I teach them some tips and tactics on recognizing priorities and when the priority needs to change. I teach them about preparing, and being prepared means ensuring the next day will go better, or the next task goes is better planned out. We work together to just implement these things so that they are not stressed out throughout the day and that they can complete all their tasks efficiently and safely.
Absolutely. Really good points. We're kind of running low on time, so I'm going to kind of speed through this. Greg, we had a conversation prior to this podcast, and you said that you never used the term 204B. Rather you use a different term. I found that kind of intriguing. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Now, you said 204B, Kevin, and I don't use profanity. Just kidding. No, I'm just joking with you. But we don't call them 204Bs. You are a management intern if you're in Poom B. I address you as a supervisor. One person has a piece of paper, has a Form 50, that says, I'm a supervisor customer service. Another person has a piece of paper, a 1723, that says, I'm a supervisor customer service. You are a management intern. And we really treat them special. I'm saying we really treat them special. So we never want them to ever feel that they are an assistant supervisor or anything like that. They are part of what I share with our management interns as well as supervisors. I explain to them they have more power and authority on that workroom floor than the Postmaster General has. And I give them this example. The Postmaster General can walk on your floor and tell carrier on Route 1, go to Route 2, right? That carrier can turn to the supervisor and say, boss, is that what you want me to do? And the supervisor says, no. That carrier is right there, they're well within the rights, right? Because that supervisor runs that. So we always have a chant in Poom B. If I come to somebody's office, I come to your unit, I walk on your workroom floor, I ask the supervisor, whose house is this? And they always look me in the eye and they say, it's my house, Mr. Harris, it's my house, right? And that's where we're at with this. That's where we're at with this. That we're educating, engaging, energizing, and empowering our supervisors. And that's what it is. The entire post office, everything we do comes down to that conversation between the supervisor and the craft employee. So no, I don't call somebody a 204B. I call somebody R2D2 or something. What is that? I don't call you a 204B. You are a management intern, right? And you're part of our team. You bring value to the table, and you are somebody. I'm telling you, Kevin, listen, when they leave this academy, I want them walking around like they have Harvard law degrees. That's how confident I want them to be, right? That's how confident we want them to be, and that's what we're investing. That's what we're aiming for.
And words have power. They really do, and I love that. And Greg, this next question, I don't really want to pose to you, but Nair as well. You guys mentioned a phrase, walking in authority. Can you both kind of explain what that's about, walking in authority?
Well, for me, walking in authority is a no-brainer. It's leading with humility and leading with empathy, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And just making sure that you are confident when you're leading your people and in your abilities, and make sure you make decisions without hesitation. You also have to inspire people, because you don't inspire people, you can't get everybody to be on the same page to get the goals accomplished. And you also just setting directions, holding people accountable, and we show them how to do that. We show a video. We have a couple of videos. We have the SID story that we show. We also have the one when we talk to the carriers and get them their expectations. So we show them those things and show that you don't have to be overpowering or overbearing or be rude to people to get them to come on board and get on board with the mission of delivering the mail and just being successful and not being a pigeon.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin, you can see why this is my partner teaching the class. I mean, this is great. It's great. And she leads by example, but she leads by example, and that's what I appreciate. You know, we take some of the elements of the old supervisor confidence training, but we put it on steroids. We put it on steroids. That's why it's called walking in authority, because that's what we need them to do. You know, it's usually an identity thing when it comes down to supervisors. Whose house is it, right? You call this shots. You give the instructions. You don't have to beg and plead or anything like that. You don't have to be mean or nasty to anybody. But we want these supervisors confident, and that's what we do. We take them into this academy, and we build them up.
You know, that confidence is key to what you're talking about. And, you know, it's just, once they have that confidence, it's like a whole new world opens up. Okay, so we'll take time to respond to any questions. Do we have any questions in the chat, Earl? Do we have anything?
Yeah, I got a couple. And by the way, I can open it up. Everybody can start putting more of them in. Some of them came to me right now. I'll open that up to everybody. The first one I got here is someone asked, so if a postmaster sent his supervisor to your class, how would they know the supervisor actually showed up?
Okay. Did you want that one, Keena?
I can take that one. So we actually have an attendance, a roll call list that we take attendance. We send the list back to the office that the student came from, as well as we give them a certificate for participating in the class.
Okay.
Yeah, their manager gets a copy of the certificate. So we want a return on investment. We don't want somebody just skipping out of their unit just so I can sit in training for the class. No, that postmaster gets that certificate. So when they get that certificate, say, hey, Earl, Supervisor Earl Husbands came down here and he went to Mike's class on, putting together the perfect pivot board, right? And so you tell Supervisor Earl Husband, okay, well, let's see what you learned in class. Earl Husband can't say, well, I didn't learn anything, whatever. No, you attended that class. I have your certificates. You complete the class. Let's start putting this stuff into practice. And that's the difference. That's the difference. You should see some of these supervisors when they leave out of here. They're taking notes ferociously, and they're applying those things. They're applying those things. I went by and I visited an office today that at one time was at 50% pivoting opportunity, right? Last week, they were at 89, and they gave me a commitment that next week they will be at 100. That is the difference. And those were supervisors who attended the academy.
So here's another question we got. They're coming in now a little bit. How does that same postmaster send a supervisor to your class actually know that they benefited from the class? I guess you kind of answered that, but how does the postmaster really know that they really learned some stuff that was beneficial?
Like I would tell any manager, when you send somebody, they have a responsibility as managers to make sure that they are involved in the mentoring and developing, just as we have in the AM. You look at 650 and AM, we're responsible as managers for the development of our employees, our supervisors, right? So how hard is it to ask questions of what did you learn? You went to the class, show me what you learned. What can you do, right? So that's what we did immediately. What I did immediately after the district manager teaches the class in DMS and doing deep dives. So what did I put in place in my POOM area? I said, okay, so we're going to start doing it. Every carrier that comes in after 7 o'clock, let's do a deep dive, which you have to utilize DMS to do. Let's do a deep dive, right? And those supervisors do that. Now, if you're a postmaster who didn't want to send your send your supervisor to the DMS class, right? Guess what you have to do? You still got to submit it, but you could have made it easier because you could have empowered and educated your supervisor by sending them to class and make your life easier.
Okay, I got a few more here, so I'll just give them to you right now. You can answer. I'm gonna give you a few at a time. One person wants to know, is this for Illinois 1? Another person's asking, how does one send their supervisor from another area or state to the class? Somebody's asking, where can I attend these classes? Someone's asking, is this open to postmasters as well? And they mentioned the first of its kind. How do other states begin this process? So I just gave you a few of them. Whoever want to jump in any of those. Basically, looks like everybody wants to know
Okay.
how do they attend this class and can other people come?
Okay, here's really quick. Anybody interested in how you put this thing together, call Greg Harris. You can reach me to send me an email, and I'll start the conversation with you, right? It's not that complex or complicated, but it will take dedication. You got to have great people surrounding you like I have with my team, right? Now, in terms of attending the class, it's open to anybody in customer service in Illinois 1. Now, we even had some folks from the plant send their supervisors to the walking and authority class because it's pretty universal for supervisors, right? So that was something they could do. In terms of sending somebody from somewhere else, if you send them from one district to another, you've got to get the permission of the district manager, right? That's where that permission comes from, you know, to send them there. But we will take in any supervisor and management intern. I am sorry, if you're a postmaster, if you're a manager, this academy is really not for you. Only in the sense that you're able to support your supervisors and management interns. You send them. You send them off to school, pack their lunch, send them off to school, and celebrate when they come back from what they've learned, right?
Right.
But like I said before, this entity is totally dedicated to the development and advancement of the supervisor of customer service.
Hey, Greg, so I'm putting in the chat box. You said they give you a call. What number can I type in the chat box to call you at what number?
Okay, so you can call me at a couple of numbers. One, you can call me through my project manager, and that number is 630-348-1146, right? And for the UPMA family, if you want to call me, I'm going to give you my number, right? But if I don't answer right away, you got to text me and let me know who it is, right? And you can reach me at 312-217-0400. Okay, that's my personal number. Okay, so I don't mind giving that out.
Okay,
right?
just put that in the
Especially
chat box.
when it's for the good everybody.
Hey, so Greg, so I got a question I think that didn't come up tonight. I think we can answer it. So you basically, the academy, it's kind of like a la carte, right? Can they choose to come to like one class on a certain day and attend that one class?
Yeah.
And then so they don't have to do the whole thing. They can do it that way. So you got a curriculum.
No, absolutely. Hey, I'm glad you asked that, Earl. That's a very important question because, and you know, team, if you guys want to jump in and add a little flavor to it, please do. But what we do, we meet monthly to plan the classes for next month. And you asked, I believe, Kevin, you asked Kenya, how do we go about picking the classes? Everybody has their field of specialty. Everybody has their field of their passion, right? You know, Tawana, has a passion for that. 1838 and 3099, she probably does some sleepwalking, Kena loves this thing where it's controlling the clock, getting rid of time, wasting practice and so forth. Kenya breathes and talks safety all the time. Mike is great with those basic things with DOAS. Kyle Goldsworthy, he's great with digging into those reports. Power BI, Anna Stack, nationally renowned in terms of her knowledge on rural routes and so forth. Star Spencer, KSAs, learning how to interview. We have so much that we have, and we have classes every single day. We fill those calendars up. Alonzo Young, one of the leading postmasters of the S&DCs in the country, teaches a class, in terms of basic DOAS and different things like that. So we have a power pack team. It's exciting. Everybody, they even have their little favorite, their favorite instructors now for those who've attended other classes and so forth. But our strength is in our diversity of our team. We just brought on some more facilitators. We have senior facilitators. Keena Baker is our chief facilitator. We have everything here, and we are doing more. We continue to develop, and we're adding more, and we continue to grow because we believe in investing in our future leadership of the United States Postal Service.
So I'm gonna say this right now, guys. I know Kevin's probably gonna wrap it up in a minute. Some of the questions coming in. Basically, a lot of questions want to know how they can do it, and it's offered in other districts. I just want to say that the reason that they're on this call today with Kevin is because this is our leadership development. And what Greg Harris is doing and his MPOO group is showing us how to be a leader that we want to see more of. So he's taking the initiative to lead his area and start this, do this academy like that. And that's what we want to see more of. So the other districts, somebody asked me, are these classes offered in Michigan? I don't believe they are. I'm not sure. I don't want to say for sure. But the purpose is to inspire other people to try to start doing this similar in their area. So if my advice would be, episode will be uploaded. I'll put it in the chat box on the UPMA national website tomorrow under the career development tab. From there, you can go there and you can share that link with anybody. So if you see that it's something that you would like to do or bring to your district, or want your POOM to see or district manager to see, go there, take this link off the website and share it with them. Let them see this episode. Let them see what they're doing. And maybe they might be inspired to take a book out of that, give Greg a call as well, see how they do it. And maybe they could have it in Michigan, and maybe they have it in some of your other districts. That's really the purpose of why we invite him on the call today. So Kevin, I'll turn it back over to you, man. We'll wrap. That's enough questions today.
Yeah, and we would like to replicate this throughout the nation. So, if you need help, if Greg gave you his number, you guys are welcome to, contact me also. I'll give you some ideas. But we want mentoring to take effect throughout the whole nation. Okay, guys, I want to start wrapping things up. So I want to close out by asking our panel, to tell us their favorite book or a favorite quote or a good piece of advice. If you want to do all three, you can do all three. That's fine as well. But choose at least one, your favorite book, your favorite quote, or best advice, and why. All right, who wants to go first?
I can go first.
All right, go ahead.
My favorite book is Who Moved My Cheese? And one of the favorite quotes that I like about it is the handwriting on the wall.
Awesome. Who else have we got?
Well, I have
Everybody
one's very simple. Just treat people how you want to be treated. That's the best way to keep everything down and keep everything civil in your office, and just make sure that everything runs smoothly. It's not going to be perfect, but if you treat people how you want to be treated, it'll definitely be reciprocated.
Absolutely.
I like the slogan of your academy. What's the slogan again? Become what, Greg?
I was saving that for last. But you want to learn how to be a better leader, learn how to be a better servant, right? One of my favorite basic management books is The 1 Minute Manager. I recommend it. It's only 100 pages long. I recommend it to anybody. But my favorite quote is the quote that we have on the wall of our academy. Become the leader you would follow. And I think that says it all.
I have a quote.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, well, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those of you're in charge of.
Simon Sinek, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think that's how you say his last name. Not sure. Who else we got?
I'll go. I have a favorite book. It's called Yellow Wife by Sadika Johnson. And my favorite quote, you have to be a good listener to be a good leader.
Absolutely. What was that book again? I didn't catch it.
Yellow Wife by Sadika Johnson.
Thank you. I haven't read that one. All right, who else we have? Mike?
Just a biography kind of person, so no special one, but I like a lot of quotes, but one of the good ones is secret to change is focus all your energy not in fighting the old, but building the new.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did we get everybody? I think we did, right? Okay.
Well, yeah. Okay. I gave the quote at the academy, but I will give my personal favorite quote. Okay. But I do love become the leader you follow. That unites us all. But leaders lead with the unspoken consent of those that follow. Right? And all of us who are on this call, when we talk about postmasters and managers, we're leaders. We're leaders.
Man, I hope our participants took notes. That was so powerful. And I want to mention also before we leave that the UPMA will be discussing the possible rollout of mentoring groups sometime in 2026. The UPMA would love to help you with your very own mentoring initiative. I think when we brainstorm with Greg's team, we're going to we're going to ignite something phenomenal across the nation. You know, so when peak is over, you know, reach out to me and let me help you get started. Brainstorming with others, you know, coupled with assistance from the UPMA and MPOO for Illinois here, we can help you and your POOM group achieve your scorecard goals or your MPA goals. Not to mention boost morale. You know, you're the ones on this telecon. You're the ones that are making a difference in postal culture. And when we all move in the same direction, we can indeed make a positive impact. You know, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Please meditate on the things that we discussed this evening. Don't be afraid to brainstorm and be creative. If you want a surefire way to get noticed, if you want a surefire way to get promoted, creating mentoring groups will guarantee that you stand out from the crowd. All right, remember that leadership is less about titles or positions and more about the positive impact we have on others. You know, by investing in mentorship and building a culture of learning, we not only elevate our teams, but we also strengthen our entire organization. So let me mention this before we close out. Nominate somebody. If you see the QR code up on the screen here, we want to hear. If you have a leader that you know would want to share their theories, their philosophy, so you know, scan that QR code and you know, give us a name. We'd love to hear from them. Earl, do you have anything?
No, I just want to say that great call, guys. I'm very proud of you all. I'm also going to take this time. Let me just share real quick. We got coming up. I know we're getting into our peak holiday season, everybody. But UPMA every year we do a big kickoff meeting in January. Our membership academy kickoff meeting. This year it's Martin Luther King weekend, January 17th in San Diego, California. I'm going to invite everybody who would to come attend. It's a powerful gathering of a lot of UPMA leaders from all over the country. If you're interested in going, go to unitedpma.org and under events, you'll click on national events and you'll see it right there. Our 5th annual membership academy. Click on there. You can register there. This is the Hard Rock Hotel. You get you a hotel room as well if you want to come. If you have more questions for that, you can call the UPMA National Office, which number is 703-683-9027. So really, I can't emphasize enough how dynamic this meeting is. We peak season's over with. We kick it off. Everybody's off that Monday, Martin Luther King weekend. It's not only a phenomenal award ceremony. We're celebrating all the achievements we have. If you all know, we recruited over 8,000 new members this year, over 5,000 EAS, over 3,000, and we still got a month and a half to go. So phenomenal year. We're going to celebrate that. We're going to do some more training. We're going to have got some really good products coming out, some secret things we're going to announce from the stage. Really, really exciting new programs coming next year. Exciting new technology that I can't wait to share everybody, but you got to come if you want to see it live. So that's really all I got. Again, proud of you guys, everybody in MPOO, Illinois 1 MPOO Group B. You know, you guys are the type of leaders that I would like to follow, you know, and thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for your commitment to thinking outside the box and becoming leaders and doing something on your own. It's awesome, and we want to thank you and celebrate you. That's all I have, Kevin.
All right, guys. You know, thank you for hanging out with us this evening. It's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night and Semper Fi.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Right.